Many of the map types have an output rollout at the bottom of the material editor. I'll close the coordinates rollout here in this bitmap. And notice that there's an output rollout down here. This works like a filter that everything in the map has to pass through before it is sent up the material hierarchy to influence the overall material. I can make quick color and intensity adjustments here using the output controls. For example, you can invert the image. And now we have a blue marble that we're working with. Another thing you might want to do with output is adjust the brightness, and you can do that with RGB level. Increasing this value is going to saturate the colors and brighten the image. If you use a high number, it will end up washing out the image. Now it might be counterintuitive, but if you've inverted the image, the RGB level works in reverse. So I would enter a lower value here to brighten the image now. I'll set the value back to the default of 1 and uncheck invert. You can also adjust the color itself by using the color map down here. And this works like curves do in Photoshop. There's a graph here that represents the tonality of the image. The shadows are down here, the midtones are in this region, and the highlights are up here. When the graph is a straight line, it's not doing anything. Make adjustments by adding vertices to this curve and moving them up or down. You can use the color map in two modes, in monochrome to adjust intensity, or in RGB mode where you can adjust each of the three color channels. Let's say that we want to make some green marble. We can start by turning off the red and blue channels so that green is the only curve that's visible here. I'll add a point in the middle of the curve here, representing the midtones of the image. Then I'll move that point upward a short distance, and it will start to green the image. Now it still looks a little bit too yellow for my preference. To increase the effect of the green channel, I'm going to decrease the red midtones. I'll add a point here and pull the red channel down in the midtones. We're starting to deepen that green color. And now maybe the blue is predominating. I'm going to pull the blue down as well. Just work one channel at a time, adjusting the curve, making little minor tweaks as you go until you get the image how you like it. You can right-click on a point and change the vertex type if you want. In this way you have the ability to shape the curve and affect more of the highlights and the shadows. So that's acceptable. Now I have green marble. I didn't even have to go into Photoshop and make any changes to this JPEG. I'm able to adjust this image through the use of the output rollout. I'll go into Active Shade up here, and we can see that when it's rendered it appears green. However, the viewport preview shows the original JPEG. Now, some maps don't have an output rollout. For example, here's the swirl map, and I'll go back into Active Shade. You can still use output, however, if you want. And it works like this. Change the map type to output. You'll be prompted whether you want to discard the original map or keep it as a submap, and you want to choose the latter option. Now swirl is nested under output. You can think of output as a wrapper or filter that the swirl map has to pass through on its way up the material hierarchy to determine the look and feel of the overall material. So here we have the same controls that we saw before within the bitmap controls. I can invert the swirl and change its level. Perhaps I'll make it brighter by decreasing the level now that it's inverted.